An astonishing conspiracy, woven from love, betrayal, and royal scandal, has surrounded Qin Shi Huang for more than 2,000 years. As one of the most mysterious figures in Chinese history, debates about his true origin have never truly stopped. Some believe it was the greatest stain the Qin royal family tried to erase. Others argue it was nothing more than history's revenge on a victorious ruler. So what is the truth? At the center of this mystery, one name cannot be ignored: Lü Buwei. He rose from the lowest social rank, a merchant with no political status, to become one of the most powerful men in the empire. Was he the most successful investor in Chinese history, or a failed father, ultimately destroyed by the very power he helped create? Behind this story lies a shocking plan that unfolded over half a century, a web of power, desire, and a tragic love story history chose to forget. This is a different story. I'm Jason. Today, we uncover the untold truth behind the hidden origins of China's first emperor. Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang was the first emperor in Chinese history, and he remains one of the most controversial and influential rulers of all time. In fact, the very word emperor, Huangdi, in Chinese, was created specifically for him. In the previous episode, we talked about another remarkable ruler, Emperor Kangxi, whose origins also became the subject of debate. Perhaps truly extraordinary figures are destined to live under the shadow of mystery. But unlike Kangxi, whose background controversy is largely a modern internet-era discussion, the question of Qin Shi Huang's origins has been debated for more than 2,000 years. For centuries, many have believed that Qin Shi Huang was not truly of the Qin royal bloodline, but instead the son of a merchant from a rival state, Lü Buwei. What makes this even more shocking is that this theory appears in subtle and unsettling ways within Records of the Grand Historian, the most authoritative historical text in China. This leaves a massive question mark over the emperor's true identity. In the ancient world, power was rooted in the purity of the bloodline. If Qin Shi Huang was indeed a commoner's son, his entire empire was built on a lie, making him a usurper rather than a rightful king. Why would the ruler of the Qin state be so closely connected to a merchant? To understand this, we have to go back more than 2,000 years, to a brutal and deeply unusual system that shaped the ancient world. The political hostage system. Before the Qin Empire unified China, the land was not a single nation, but divided into 7 rival states locked in constant conflict. War was frequent, and to maintain fragile diplomatic ties, these states relied on a harsh and very practical system: the exchange of political hostages. Those sent as hostages were rarely ordinary people. They were usually princes and members of royal families. Qin Shi Huang's father, the neglected prince Yiren, was sent to the state of Zhao under this system. Because he was not favored at the Qin court, he was quickly treated as expendable. Relations between Qin and Zhao were tense for years, and this all but guaranteed that Yiren's life in Zhao would be miserable. Historical records tell us that he lacked money and at times even basic necessities. For a long period, Yiren was almost completely forgotten. At one point, he believed he would die in this foreign land. Then came a chance encounter that would change everything. A wealthy merchant noticed him. That man was Lü Buwei. Lü Buwei came from the state of Wei and was already a famous and extremely wealthy businessman trading in Zhao at the time. He had enormous wealth, yet remained locked out of the real centers of power. In the strict social hierarchy of the time, merchants were often viewed as parasites, wealthy but at the very bottom of the social ladder, far below farmers and scholars. When Lü Buwei learned of Yiren's situation, a bold idea formed in his mind. He decided to make an unprecedented political gamble, to invest in a prince everyone else had already written off. This gamble would later be called the most successful political investment in Chinese history. It didn't just completely change Yiren's fate, it quietly altered the course of Chinese history itself. And, just as quietly, it planted the seeds of a fate Lü Buwei would never be able to escape. The mother of Qin Shi Huang. Lü Buwei now went all in. He didn't just give Yiren large sums of money, he spent enormous wealth traveling among nobles and power brokers of different states, lobbying on Yiren's behalf. Then, at a banquet, fate took another sharp turn. During the feast, a dancer caught Yiren's eye. According to historical accounts, he fell in love with her at first sight and made a direct request to Lü Buwei. He wanted the woman for himself. What Yiren didn't know was that this woman was no ordinary dancer. She was Lü Buwei's most favored concubine. Her name was Zhao. In that era, women were often treated as political bargaining chips. But for Lü Buwei, this was a truly brutal choice: love or the ambition he had staked everything on. In the end, Lü Buwei made his decision. He personally gave Zhao to Yiren. Yet Zhao did not quietly submit to her fate. Years later, she would launch a shocking counterstrike that stunned everyone. That truth we'll save for later. After marrying Yiren, Zhao gave birth to Qin Shi Huang, the future first emperor of China. But back in Qin, a dangerous rumor began to spread. Some claimed that before marrying Yiren, Zhao was already pregnant. If that were true, then Qin Shi Huang's biological father might have been someone else entirely. So what was this story? A political smear or a truth deliberately buried by history? Second father. With Lü Buwei's full support and careful maneuvering, Yiren finally returned to Qin. He was named crown prince and soon ascended the throne as king of Qin. Lü Buwei, in turn, rose overnight. He was appointed chancellor of Qin, holding immense power at court. Yes, the political gamble had finally paid off. But the most dramatic and most dangerous part of the story was only just beginning. Just 3 years later, Yiren suddenly fell ill and died at the age of 35. His son ascended the throne at only 13 years old. Qin Shi Huang became king, and Lü Buwei, as chancellor, became the real power behind the empire, the regent. What makes this even more intriguing is this: Qin Shi Huang did not treat Lü Buwei as an ordinary official. Instead, he honored him with a special title, Zhongfu. It means second father. That single title sparked endless suspicion. Did Lü Buwei already know the truth about Qin Shi Huang's birth? Some even believe that when Lü Buwei gave Zhao to Yiren, already pregnant, it was never an accident at all, but part of a carefully designed plan. Contradictions in the records. More than 100 years after Qin Shi Huang's death, China's most authoritative historical work, The Records of the Grand Historian, was completed by Sima Qian, the Herodotus of China. Inside this book, 2 passages quietly contradict each other, leaving behind a troubling crack in the story. In the Annals of Qin Shi Huang, Sima Qian clearly states that Qin Shi Huang was the son of King Zhuangshang of Qin, Yiren. But in the biography of Lü Buwei, a very different detail appears. It records that Zhao was already pregnant before she married Yiren, and that the pregnancy was deliberately concealed. It is this single passage that has made generations of historians uneasy. Many believe Sima Qian was not making a direct accusation, but instead hinting
carefully and indirectly that Qin Shi Huang's origins might not be so simple. And that raises a disturbing question. If Yi Ren himself never knew Zhao Ji was pregnant at the time, then how did Sima Chen learn this detail at all?
Zhao Ji and Lü Buwei. Although Zhao Ji was handed over by Lü Buwei as a political gift, the emotional bond between them was never completely severed. After Yi Ren's death, when Qin Shi Huang was still very young, Zhao Ji privately expressed to Lü Buwei her wish to rekindle their past relationship. This detail only fueled further speculation among later generations. Some believe that Lü Buwei may have already known the truth about Zhao Ji's pregnancy and that everything had been part of his long-term plan from the very beginning. But for Lü Buwei, this relationship was extremely dangerous. If he continued in a forbidden affair with the Queen Dowager, once Qin Shi Huang came of age and the truth was exposed, the punishment waiting for him would likely be death. So Lü Buwei devised a solution, extreme and cold-blooded. He secretly selected a man named Lao Ai, a figure known for his unique talents, and disguised him as a eunuch, quietly sending him into Zhao Ji's inner palace. Before long, Zhao Ji and Lao Ai developed an intimate relationship, and when this affair was finally exposed, it not only triggered a massive political shock within the Qin state, but also, unseen at the time, profoundly altered the course of Qin Shi Huang's life.
The debate. So here's the real question. Was Qin Shi Huang definitely Lü Buwei's son? In fact, not all historians accept this theory. Quite the opposite. Some scholars argue the exact reverse. According to historical records, Zhao Ji gave birth to Qin Shi Huang 10 months after marrying Yi Ren. If this timeline is accurate, then the claim that Lü Buwei gave a pregnant Zhao Ji to Yi Ren becomes very hard to support. Even with the most advanced medical knowledge of the time, pregnancy could usually be detected after about 2 months. If Zhao Ji had already been pregnant before the marriage, it would be extremely unlikely for her to give birth 10 months later. Of course, another possibility has been raised. Some suggest that after marrying Yi Ren, Zhao Ji may have continued a secret relationship with Lü Buwei. What makes this theory even more intriguing is that from the time of Zhao Ji's pregnancy until Qin Shi Huang's birth, they were living in the state of Zhao as hostages, with almost no direct supervision from the Qin royal court. Some have gone even further, boldly speculating that Zhao Ji herself may have been a piece deliberately placed beside Yi Ren by Lü Buwei. But here's the problem. In ancient China, the throne could only be inherited by a male heir. Lü Buwei had no way to guarantee that Zhao Ji would give birth to a son. If she had given birth to a daughter, this political gamble spanning decades would have completely collapsed. From a purely rational standpoint, this doesn't quite align with Lü Buwei's reputation as a man known for careful calculation and strategic precision.
Now let's look at how Lü Buwei's story finally ended. As we mentioned earlier, Lü Buwei sent Lao Ai to Zhao Ji's side. Thanks to Lao Ai's so-called unique talents, he quickly became Zhao Ji's lover. Zhao Ji secretly gave birth to 2 children fathered by him. But secrets don't stay hidden for long. Before long, rumors spread through the Qin court. Fearing that Qin Shi Huang would eventually eliminate him, Lao Ai made a desperate move. He conspired with Zhao Ji to assassinate Qin Shi Huang and place his own child on the throne. Yes, Zhao Ji ultimately agreed to the plan. The plot, however, was quickly exposed. Qin Shi Huang acted without hesitation. Lao Ai was executed along with the 2 children. His own mother, Zhao Ji, was exiled to a secluded palace. During the subsequent investigation, Lü Buwei was inevitably drawn into the scandal. Qin Shi Huang stripped him of his titles and expelled him from the capital. 1 year later, Lü Buwei received a letter from the emperor. The emperor's letter reportedly asked, "What have you done for Qin to deserve such a title? What blood tie do you have to me to be called second father?" This was more than a dismissal, it was a total erasure of their shared history. Not long after, Lü Buwei took poison and ended his own life. Many historians argue that if Lü Buwei truly had been Qin Shi Huang's biological father, it would be difficult to believe the emperor could act with such cold resolve and force him into a dead end. But others offer the opposite view. They believe that precisely because Qin Shi Huang knew this secret, he had no choice but to sever every possible source of rumor to protect his legitimacy and secure his throne. And so the question becomes, would Qin Shi Huang really kill his own biological father to solidify his rule as emperor?
Looking at Qin Shi Huang's later actions, one thing becomes almost certain. He was not a man easily ruled by emotion. He ordered the execution of his own half-brother, a decision that already tells us a great deal. And his mother Zhao Ji's betrayal seems to have left a deep, unhealed fracture in his early psychological world. From that point on, Qin Shi Huang grew increasingly cold, even extreme toward the very idea of family. He never appointed an empress, he never publicly named an heir, and despite having more than 20 sons, he refused to truly entrust power to any of them. Many scholars believe this deep distrust can be traced back to the collapse of his family in his youth. His mother's betrayal destroyed any belief that blood ties could guarantee loyalty. And because of that, when Qin Shi Huang died, the succession system quickly spiraled out of control. An empire that appeared unbreakable collapsed within just a few short years. I'll explore that story in detail in a separate video. So we return to the original question. If Lü Buwei really was his biological father, would Qin Shi Huang have hesitated to cut off that bloodline to secure his own legitimacy? Perhaps, to Qin Shi Huang, power was always more important than family, just as Lü Buwei, decades earlier, had sacrificed Zhao Ji's life for his own political ambition. Which explanation do you find more convincing? A buried royal scandal, or a story shaped by later generations projecting their imagination onto the victor? Share your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next story.